struggling to manage your monthly expenses? Do you spend hours putting things in a spreadsheet and calculating every little transaction? Are you just trying to figure out, am I over or under budget? Well, in this video, I'm gonna dive deep into how me and my family use Monarch Money to be able to automate everything on our expense tracking and be able to easily see if we're over or under budget. So what is Monarch Money? Monarch Money is both a website and an app that allows you to easily integrate all of your expenses, all your credit cards, all your bank accounts, all your investment accounts in a single place so that you can easily see where's my money coming and going. Before using Monarch Money, I was a big user of Mint.com. Unfortunately, Intuit depreciated Mint.com, and so now we have to go to other paid versions on the web. Monarch, unfortunately, is you have to pay for it, and so it's either $99 a year or $15 per month. For me, I think $100 a year is well worth it for all of the benefits and automations that I get with Monarch Money. Okay, so the first part is how I set up Monarch Money. If you have watched my budgeting video, you recall that it's really important to split out giving, fixed expenses, and variable expenses in our budget. And so here's an example budget that I walked through in the past. And so in Monarch Money, we're really keeping an eye on this variable bucket, which is all of these spending categories here, and then all the fixed expenses in another bucket. And so if we go to Monarch, you can see that I have created the categories almost identical. We have income on top. Then we have all of our variable expenses in a single bucket. Then we have giving in a single bucket. And then all of our fixed expenses, I kind of have into two buckets. There is both fixed expenses that we are living on, and then all of our SoFi or sinking funds in another bucket here. So after you set up your accounts as well as your budget categories, then what will happen is all of your expenses will automatically start to come into Monarch Money. From there, you can go in and start to review each expense that's coming in. These are just sample expenses that I put in here. But you can start to review what category each one's going in. But you can also create rules that say, hey, every time that this vendor or this category comes in, I want this to be labeled as personal care, for example. You also have the ability to easily split expenses and say, I want this to go into both groceries and restaurants, for example. And so from here, I will go in typically at the midpoint of the month and the end of the month to review all the expenses that have come into Monarch Money before I go and review the budget. So after I've reviewed all the transactions that have come in, next I go into the budget and review really two main things. First, I'm going to review all the variable expenses and see what are we over or what are we under budget. As you can see in this example, we're currently above budget in personal care. So I know, hey, we need to cut back spending in that particular category. The second thing that I do is I look at all the fixed expenses. And so given that these are fixed, it should match 100% what you've put as the budget. But it's a good way for me to spot check and make sure that I'm not getting double charged for anything, and that I'm getting the income that I expect to get in. And so paychecks, I expect to receive a certain amount. And then my mortgage, I expect to be a certain amount. My auto payment, I expect to be a certain amount, etc. And so here I just validate that it matches exactly what I've budgeted for and that there's no variation in those expenses. And that's it. That's how I use Monarch to manage our expenses on a monthly basis to easily keep track of all the various spending categories and ensuring all of our sinking funds and budgets are aligning with our plan. In future videos linked here, I'll go way deeper into how I set up Monarch, how I attached all my accounts, and how I set up all the various budgeting categories to match the budget that we've created in the past. If there's any other videos that you guys want me to do deep dives on or financial topics that are curious to you, please let me know what those are in the comments. I'd be happy to create anything related to personal finance that we should have learned in school.